3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Quality Antics podcast. My name is Dave, and in this episode, I'm having a chat with Hannah Watkinson. She's a fantastic Cantabrian making moves all over the city. She's got a really new space called the Corner Store, and we talk a lot about that. And this was recorded in the Corner Store. It's a bit echoey down there, but bear with us. It's a good episode. Cheers. Alright, thanks for coming along today, mate. So you are the third guest on the Quality Antics podcast. Welcome. Hannah, first, I think you should probably start by just roughly introducing yourself. A 60-second blurb of your life.
Oh,
Good
of
luck.
my life.
Yeah, everything.
Far out, mate. All right. Christchurch born and bred. Studied fine arts at the University of Canterbury for 5 years. Did my Bachelor of Fine Arts majoring in photography with honours. Left that, had started a photography gallery in my second to last year of that, just because there was nowhere for young photographers to show work in Christchurch, or really New Zealand for that matter. And sort of got into the entrepreneurial scene in the city, met some real cool people, finished my fine arts degree, got a job in corporate tech innovation at Vodafone Zone. So I was business development and pipeline coordinating for their program, which brings on 10 startup companies. And so I played mum to 10 startup companies for a year. Left that and have started the Corner Store, which is 2-story building, Cashel Street, 18 artists upstairs in studios, and coffee shop, event space, gallery downstairs.
Nice. And we are literally in, if you're watching the video, we are literally in the Corner Store right now, and it's in its early stages. So like the downstairs space you were just saying earlier before we started hitting record, that you're kind of establishing and figuring out what it's going to become. But what was the dream starting off this project, specifically the Corner Store? Like how did it all start?
Yeah, so basically with In Situ Photo Project, which is the photography gallery I started, I was using transitional spaces around the city to put on shows. And so then that kind of got really tricky because Christchurch is definitely moving away from transitional currently. So we got offered a space we got offered the Welder in Wells Street. And I needed to put on some shows just for our funding requirements and stuff. And so turned the back half of that into a gallery, but then had space in the front half. So kind of hit up some artist friends, and then they had some friends. Was like, come hang out, like come make it your studio. Means that my shows, people can come and wander through. It means open, but it means you guys have got a place to hang out. And so that went from 2 people to about 6 full-time people over the course of 6 months. And so then when we kind of got kicked out of the year, because the plan was always for that place to be redeveloped, it was sort of like, where do we go? And everybody was still like, everybody's like such a little unit now that like.
Wanted to keep the team together.
Yeah, totally. And so we basically just wanted to move that to somewhere bigger and more purpose-built. And I am just like, as I was saying earlier, like 18 spaces are filled upstairs, and I still get inquiries every day. So there's definitely still a need for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you were to dream ahead a year down the track, 2 years, where do you see the space? What do you see the future of the Corner Store?
I think I want the Corner Store to, everything that I do here is sort of about the idea of making it a place where people can feel at home. And I think artists, especially, the nature of art is so volatile anyway. The least you can do is have a place where you want to come and hang out and think about all the heavy shit that you think about when you're making art. But sort of, I guess, I think that ultimately it's not going to change massively in the sense that there's still going to be artists working from here. There's still going to be a gallery space and probably coffee, because artists need coffee. But kind of also, like, I guess the long-term dream, and maybe this is more like 10 years on the track rather than like 2, is I would like to have a few different spaces like this, but with a focus on a medium. So, we've got like painters and designers and all sorts upstairs, photographers and stuff like that, but I can see the need for, people needing similar kind of stuff, and that not necessarily being all in one space. So like, say we had like 3 or 4 of these spaces around the city, still have a gallery space, but say you had 10 photographers, and so you could have like a purpose-built studio with all the gear and stuff if you had like a painting place, it would probably be a bit messier. Painters seem to like a little bit more privacy, so maybe a little bit less open plan. And then with designers and stuff, you know, some big screens and just sort of, also because a lot of designers do client work, just sort of like meeting rooms and things like that so that they can bring in people. So that's kind of the dream, and they don't know it yet, but sort of like the original people that I've got at the corner store, I'm kind of quietly grooming to sort of like help me with that, because, you know, we've got like one of the best photographers I know who would be perfect at sort of running a space like that. Same with designers, same with sort of like craft people, same with painters. So it's kind of like in the back of my mind that I'd love to be like a network of these spaces so that people leaving, you know, study or quitting their jobs and going to do it have like the place to be. Yeah.
Wow, I can't even imagine like let's say me more in the video space, like having a place where you go to where there's 10 other people doing your thing. I feel like it'd be like a hive of activity, but also like, ooh, what are they doing? Oh, I need to up my game.
Totally.
I need to up my game.
Yeah.
And so then the quality is just like blossoming. But like you're saying about gear, like let's say photography, then you could also know that you've got this studio set up. You don't have to go and 10 people are buying their own little lights and everything. It's like, that'd be quite cool.
And it's so expensive, and so just like having sort of just like a co-op of people you can borrow stuff from without having to hire things and that kind of thing. I mean, like it comes with all sorts of challenges in the sense that, you know, even you touched on like people being like, oh, I need to up my game and stuff. There's always like an element of competition, but I think this has been a really good test, you know, like designers specifically, we've had a few working together, and I think that like Christchurch is big enough for all of us, and that's what I keep saying in terms of studio space and things like that, because like, you know, there's always going to be people that are better than you at some things, and you're always going to be better than, you know, people at other things, sort of thing. And I think that for artists to really get the most out of this place, we just need to be working together rather than competing.
Yeah. And that's what I had the same thought with video people. Like some of my videographer friends, immediately I went down the track of, they're going to steal my work, and and then I kind of flipped it and was like, realised, well, if they do some awesome work for this client, it's only going to be good for us as a video like medium. So then other people see that and think, well, I really need some video. I'll reach out to this person, and just the whole kind of industry gets to grow.
Yeah,
so
totally.
You know, it should really support each other. And it sounds like you're on the
for
boat.
sure. And I think a lot of that comes like also from sort of like a semi like informal education element. Same with artists and pricing work. Like, you know, you've got one person, and anyone, like videographers, anything. If you've got people underselling themselves, it becomes an expectation that people can get great work for cheap because you're not rating yourself high enough. And that seems great because you're getting the work, but it actually kind of screws over the whole industry. And so that's really interesting, especially with young artists and things. Like, pricing is hard. And so I think it needs to be more of like a community base. Like, we need to be able to sit down and have a conversation and be like, what is your hourly rate? Like, why? And what are your strengths and weaknesses? And if someone comes to you and says, hey, I need this, and you're like, nah, who are you going to send them to, sort of thing. And like, I think we've got a long way to go, but I think that a lot of it will come down to just sort of having the kind of spaces like this where people can come and hang out and not feel like it's real pretentious. And like where they can just be straight up, because, you know, life's too short for all that bullshit.
So let's pivot a little bit and talk about, you mentioned before we went on the air that you're a big New Brighton. Talk to me about that. Why?
New Brighton is the business, I tell you. I love it there so much.
So for
I think I said it's my slice of paradise. And I don't care if you don't like it.
For those who don't know, New Brighton is a suburb in Christchurch where we live, and it's kind of, how could you explain it? Yeah, it's far east, and it went through some interesting times recently. Like, I remember when I was younger going to the market on one of the main streets, and it was this thriving, like, buzzy, cool community. And then it's kind of quietened down, especially post-earthquake, with people moving out and houses being demolished, and But you're saying, hey, there's some good property to snatch up there. So all those
Yeah.
property developers or young couples listening, maybe think of New Brighton. What do you like about
totally.
it?
I mean, well, yeah, so basically, like, even I've spent a lot of time there growing up in the sense that I've always been from the east. So I guess Brighton's kind of surrounded by some lower demographic areas, and it gets a pretty bad rep. And especially, as you say, post-quake, like, there's been a lot of changes in the east. The east got hit pretty hard, so like it's been a bit of a struggle, and it's definitely sort of like one of the forgotten suburbs. But I guess so Brighton actually was super popular probably when you were younger, but also like when my parents were growing up, because Brighton was the first shopping centre, like it's not a mall, it's a sort of like a street mall kind of thing, to be open on Saturdays in New Zealand. So like when all shopping was like Monday to Friday, Brighton opened up on Saturdays, and so everybody would be there because it's like beachside and everything was open, and the fam could go down and sort of like, get ice cream and go shopping and sort of that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of like, that's kind of how it became a thing, and then it sort of has just gone like, and then obviously with the rise of shopping malls and with like the whole Saturday trading not being like
not a big thing at all.
It's sort of like that kind of lost its shine, I guess, and so it kind of got neglected a bit. And I mean, the city, the mall still leaves a bit to be desired now because it hasn't changed since the 70s, sort of thing. But I mean, I love it because so close to the beach. Like I live 500 metres from the beach, 200 metres from a dog park, so my dog is just always in heaven because we're either at the beach or at the dog park. And the weekends, walk to the supermarket, walk to a favourite cafe. Like, you don't have to leave. And as someone who works in the city all the time, like, there is nothing better than like a Saturday where I just don't leave Brighton. Like, just because, and it's the kind of, you rock up to the cafe without shoes on and no one looks at you funny, and you're a local, and like, even, as you said, in terms of like house prices and stuff, like the street that I live on, I've got 4 friends who own houses on that street, and so it becomes its own little community because we can afford to buy houses there. And then your mates are all just around the corner,
That would be so ideal. Some of my friends are starting to do that in Lincoln and Rolleston because they're like going down that road. But New Brighton would be sick.
It depends what you're into. Like I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm all for that because leaves the best
you don't want
bits.
everyone there,
so
you're
totally
like, great,
leaves the best bits to us for sure. But I mean, it's interesting. Like my boyfriend, he is not from here, and he had not spent much time in Brighton before he met me, and he is converted 100%. Like
nice.
I was just like, oh, nothing beats Brighton on a good day. Like we'll go get a coffee, we'll go for a walk on the beach, we'll go to the market on Saturday, and he's just like, can't beat a day.
This is cool. Yeah. Nice. Oh, well, I need to pop out there. I didn't know about the Saturday thing. That's quite buzzy.
But they do markets on Saturdays now, so it's like, it's still
got its little Saturday feature. Yeah.
Just don't come when there's an easterly. Like,
why?
It's just the wind. Like the offshore wind is the one thing
gnarly
that you can't control. And it's funny because it's like there'll be a beautiful day in the city and everybody will be like, we want to go to the beach, and you look at the way the trees are blowing and you're like, it's gonna suck at the beach. Like you're not gonna enjoy that.
Right, we should probably pivot and have a quick dive into the hat.
All right.
These are questions created from friends of the show.
Okay.
And we're just going to tackle, I don't even know what half of them are, so
all right.
If they're hard to read, I apologise. I might have copied some from online, but
that's fine. Oh, I want to know your answer to this.
Yeah, I'll answer as well.
Good. What is your favourite place in New Zealand? That's a big question.
I don't want to leave too much silence, but things that pop into my head straight away is Tochanui up in the Tasman, just because of the memories and the experiences I've had there. It's like a nice, real mellow place. But my favourite place in New Zealand, there's other little places that are cool for like a while, but like my favourite place would be, if I can be generic and say Christchurch, because I grew up here. There's some sweet history. There's like the hills, there's the beach, there's the like everything, and I know the city reasonably well, so that's probably why I love it so much. But yeah, easy answer. But I'm like, Christchurch. What about you?
Well, I kind of have to say Christchurch as well. I mean, like the corner store, like our kind of tagline has become, like this is the city that we love.
Yeah.
And like even like
So you don't want to be like,
coffee sign that went out yesterday. It's
Yeah.
like coffee worthy of the city that we love because
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Cool.
But Stewart Island, I've got family that live down there, and so I try and get down there a couple of times a year, and undoubtedly my favourite place in the world. So it's just like you feel like you're on a different planet, and it's like the one place that I feel like I switch off and, you know, my favourite beaches and favourite walks, and it's just, yeah, like nothing like it. And whenever I'm not there, I wish I was. So
really?
yeah.
But how big, okay, Stewart Island, I hear you can walk the island or something?
No, you can't. Well, you
What?
could, but it's big.
Yeah.
Like the main kind of township has a population of 400.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
wow.
but there's only about 20k of roads, I think. But the island itself is actually huge.
Oh, okay. Are there people who are just like rogue as heck in the middle of like this bush and they've got houses or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's mainly contained to the main township. I mean, there are some people there that you would see once a year sort of thing. But like they kind of keep to themselves.
Yeah.
But the island itself, like even like the northwest, I'm just trying to think based off like walking tracks and stuff. The northwest circuit, which is literally just the northwest of the island, it takes about 13 days, I think.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
like
You're
yeah.
not walking the whole
You're not walking the whole island.
Okay.
And I mean, it's pretty rugged. Like the township and stuff is really nice and what you'd expect of sort of like a vacay island in the sense that you can walk around the roads and you can walk the beaches and stuff, but there's a lot of big boulders around the rest of the island. And by that I mean like, yeah.
But I heard the crossing is pretty gnarly to get there across the ocean. Is that true? Have you had any bad experiences?
It is very true. I've had some awful experiences.
You're kidding.
So basically you can take the boat, which takes an hour, or you can take the plane, which takes 20 minutes. And there's a saying that's like it's either 20 minutes of terror or an hour of agony, because like
Really?
it can be pretty bad. Like at the same time it can be perfect.
Yeah. 20 minutes of terror on an aeroplane. No,
well, because it's like a 8-seater, 12-seater,
Wow.
tops. Yeah, so it's a little plane.
And are they really, is it pricey to go across on the plane? Surely it will be.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head,
Yeah.
but I mean, like I've been on some pretty awful boat crossings.
Have you literally thought, wait a minute, this could happen, I could be gone? Or has it not been that bad?
I've had a plane crossing like that. But not so much boat crossings. Like my parents like to remind me of, like, I kind of have my sea legs now, so I haven't been sick on the boat for a very, very long time. But when I was little, I did not, and because we used to go family holidays there, sort of like every year kind of thing. I remember apparently there was one crossing that we did where the boat was going up and down so much that my parents had to hold me in my seat. And there have been a few crossings where we've got over and they've been like, we probably shouldn't have done that, but like when you get halfway it's safer to keep going than it is to turn back, sort of thing. So it's a pretty gnarly piece of water, but I mean it's worth it, and maybe that's a good thing that it keeps out the wimps, you know.
Has someone swam that, or do they swim that? Whoa.
People have swum it, not as many as the Cook Strait, I don't think, because the Cook Strait is a little bit more straightforward. But
I can't think of anything worse.
yeah.
That'd be terrifying. Okay. Buzzy. Oh, very cool. Stewart Island. I need to go there.
You do?
Everyone needs to go there,
Everyone
probably.
needs to go there, totally.
I heard the fishing's amazing.
The fishing is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm always nervous about talking it up too much because obviously I've got family there, so that's part of the perk for me, and that's probably why I love it more than some people do. Also, the weather can be awful, and sometimes you get like a week of amazing weather, sometimes you get a week of rain.
Yeah.
It's like one extreme or the other. So.
Yeah. So, going back to what you were just saying, like, you've got family there, that's why it makes it so special. That's probably the case with, like, every place. Like, thinking, actually, Tochanui, if I was there by myself, well, that'd be alright.
Yeah.
But actually, it's the company that you have that
Totally.
can like, totally make a place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe that's part of our reason why we
Yeah.
answered the way we did.
Totally.
And that's probably why Christchurch, to me, there's all the friends and the family and the
Totally.
memories, and that's all part of,
Yeah.
like, what builds it up.
And
so.
I'm all for the idea that, you know, some people could, if you got off a plane into Christchurch right now from somewhere else in the world, it might not be like,
what the hell?
You know, we're still not like from the outside a super functioning city. So I think, you know, I'm cool with that though. It's what you make it.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's finish up. I
Okay.
have no idea how long we've been talking for, but If people want to hear more about what you're up to, Hannah, the amazing things, or wanted to connect with you online, how can they find you?
The corner store is on Facebook and on Instagram. TCS Chicha on Instagram. And Instagram's where it's at these days. So all for people jumping on there.
Cool.
And they can probably find me personally from that as well.
Yeah, cool. You happy to people to slide into the DMs?
Oh, all for it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Sweet. Thanks for coming on. I know she's a busy woman, so I'm glad I could peg her down for a half an hour or whatever it is. Thanks for coming by.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. Massive thanks for tuning in for this episode of the Quality Antics podcast. If you want to catch up with us or send us a question for the hat, just hit me up at Quality Antics on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, all of the social pipes, or send us an email at qualityanticspodcast@gmail.com. Have a good one.